Anything in economics is always a two-way process, yeah? It takes two to tango, you know? So you have a negative impact, but you will also have a positive impact. And the positive impact, and this I think clearly is not getting enough attention, is that this is one of the most unique development tools, levers, avenues that we have seen in a very long time in the global economy, the energy transition. The energy transition can literally build new industries in almost any country, on every continent, and literally pull people out of poverty. I think this is the angle on this that is not stressed enough. It's not money for nothing, yeah? It's money to reach this goal where we will be able to do all of these things sustainably and in the process improve economic outcomes for everybody. We're dealing with a systemic problem that needs a systemic answer. So none of us can, in isolation, provide any, workable solutions to the whole problem. So we literally need to come together, and then I am sure if we manage to get that unity of purpose, that this can be achieved, because in actual fact, the sums engaged in this transition for aviation are actually comparable to the sums that policymakers engaged in the building up of the new energy markets of wind and solar. Nobody is listening enough. And notably, of course, I would point a particular finger at the policymakers, because we need them at this particular point in time. I think there are plenty of deaf people in many other areas, but their participation is perhaps more important slightly later in this endeavor of ours. And it's literally now that we need the policymakers' help to make the investment proposition for the technologies that we need in our transition more attractive, and particularly make those investment propositions more attractive than what it is today to invest in oil. We need to reach a new height of collaboration and a new practicality in this collaboration than we tend to see as a rule in the world. I like to take the example of, for instance, the COVID vaccine that was, absolutely improbably and incredibly created in the space of less than 1 year, whereas normally it takes the world 10 years to pull something like that off. That's an example of the radical collaboration that we would like to see. And think that surely, if we could only have a unity of purpose, we can achieve this energy transition to the benefit of our industry, but also, of course, to the benefit of every industry and to the global economy. For sure, the numbers are large, but there are different numbers, and we have to be careful with which one refers to which. So airlines will obviously end up paying a higher price for their fuel, because today the sustainable aviation fuel is multiple times more expensive than the jet fuel based on fossil fuels. So if we tot up the extra cost for all the new things that airlines will have to buy, then we get an average annual cost to airlines of 175 billion, round figures say. And of course that's already eye-watering, because our annual profit this year we think is going to be 30 billion. So we understand maybe from those numbers the urgent need to do everything we can to compress those costs. We need investors who can produce the fuel to build new biorefineries so that we can scale up this production. We will need, I would say, a minimum of 3,500 new refineries between now and 2050. And aviation will probably maybe use, certainly no more than a third of that output. Our current forecast for the industry, we're looking at 3% net profit margins. So that is very slim. And today, the oil and gas production and exploration industry has net profit margins of about 20%. So for them to invest in a new area, that new area would have to have similar potential returns and compensate for the extra risks. And this is very difficult to achieve today. And I think that's what, collectively speaking, we really need the policymakers' help with improving that relative investment proposition. Well, the SAF registry is one solution that I like to say is, on its own, not going to provide any miracles, but without it, no miracles can be produced. So we need a registry to be able to make sure that the decarbonization is actually happening, that the emissions reductions from these fuels are known, and then for the airlines' obligations that they have under the CORSIA system or the European ETS, for instance, EU RED rather. We also need to be able to declare that in a trust-inspiring way and make sure that none of this is counted twice and so on. So this type of registry is definitely needed, and we want to make it because we're a not-for-profit organization, and we will offer this solution at a cost cover basis, which means that it will be cheaper for airlines than other solutions. And this is very important to us, we have understood, given the large sums of money that are already involved in this transition.